Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Liam the Prove It Guy, author of Limitation Is A Mirage. In this podcast, I will be sharing with you actionable tips, routines and insights that I have gathered over 20 years of extensive study with masters, experts and world-class performers. My hope with this podcast is to save you time, money and frustration, helping you fast-track your way to mastery. And welcome to the Limitation Is A Mirage podcast. So I just want to give a quick rundown on what I've been up to in the last 6 months, I suppose. So last year, 2019, I did a podcast every single day with the Limitation Is A Mirage podcast. My goal was set on 2 days before 2019, and I wanted to see if I could maintain a consistent podcast. So rather than record a couple in one day and then just upload them as I went, I decided that I would record them every day just to prove that no matter what's going on in your life, you can keep up with whatever challenge you set for yourself. So my goal with my clients is always to practice what I preach. I'm never going to ask anybody to do anything that I couldn't do or that I wouldn't be willing to try. So I've changed the idea of the podcast. If we go right back to October, so in October of 2019, I decided that I wanted to change up my business. I wanted to change up the clients that I had and who I was working with and what I was actually doing with them. So after a long discussion with a few people around me, with different mentors and a few long nights chatting to myself, I realized that the only way to really make a change was to make a massive change. And that involved deleting my entire social media. So I deleted everything except the podcast because I still had 2 months left to do. And I had TikTok, which I was just playing around with. I don't use too much now, but I was keep myself entertained back then. And my YouTube channel because it had things connected to my book. So I decided to take those 2 months to work on what I wanted to do, what I wanted to achieve. And that sort of took me down a different rabbit hole than I was expecting. And now I've just been working on, for the last maybe 6 months, been working on projects that are actually going to be launched in the next couple of days. So that's why I thought it was time now to bring the podcast back. I also wanted to change up the idea of the podcast. So the last ones, if you go back and listen to them, you'll have a daily podcast you could listen to. They're about 5 minutes long, most of them. The last one's about 20 minutes maybe. But mostly they're 5 minutes long, and they're little tips and ideas of what I think that you should do to help improve your life. What I think you should get up to if you want to create a consistent practice, and just bits and pieces about what I was getting up to in the year. So I decided that I wanted to do, instead of doing a daily podcast, I want to do one that goes out every Wednesday. And initially, it's just going to be me talking about different ideas and different clients that I'm working with and telling a few stories. But I'm also going to start to bring in some mentors and some people that I really admire to interview them as well. The point of the interview isn't just to talk to someone about what they're doing and then we try to sell something at the end, which I see a lot of interview-based podcasts. It's just to converse with someone so that I can learn something. So I'm going to be picking people that have done things I would like to do or that I'm impressed that they did. And I'm going to talk to them about how they did that, what mindset they have for that, what way they come up with the ideas and they create the systems that they're using or the routines that they're using, why they write the way they write, why they act the way they act, why they do whatever it is that they do that I'm interested in. Because I feel that that'll make a better interview. It'll be more of a conversation than an interview. So I used to do a few of these in the past, and I'll probably reshare some of them as well. But the goal for me is to converse with people I'm interested in talking with and trying to learn something along the way myself and then pass that knowledge on to you. So the idea of my new way of working with my clients is I had a lot of really high-end clients and a lot of people that were starting their journey as well. And I was spreading myself too thin. So I decided that I would make products based on all of the teaching that I would normally be teaching with the people that are in the start of their journey. That gives me more opportunity to focus on the people that are further on the journey. So I think that both sets of people are going to get a lot more out of what I'm doing, rather than me spreading myself too thin. I've also updated my book. A lot of people ask me about the old cover, and they would say something like, is it all about fighting, or do they have to be into fighting to actually enjoy it? And I try to explain that there's actually no fighting in it. I don't even think I tell a story about fighting. I tell a story about nearly being mugged, but there was no fighting involved in that. So I updated the cover. I had a lot of help doing that. Even the back picture. So one of the places I go to meditate I really like is Slothan Glen. So this back, the picture that covers the whole cover, is from a good friend of mine, Tony Moore. And he was kind enough to let me use it on the cover of my book. So that took up a lot of my time. I wasn't expecting it to be as much as it was, but a lot of work goes into that. I wasn't expecting. I've continued doing in this lockdown. I've continued teaching my Tai Chi online and working with other groups online as well, which has actually worked out really well for the groups and for me, because they're getting videos and they can keep up with me whenever they want, rather than having to be somewhere at a specific time and place. So I've really enjoyed that. And then just my training's going well. If you looked at the podcast from before, you'll remember that I was trying to put on weight, and I went from 9:13 round about there to, at my highest I was 11:7, 11:9. I can't fully remember. And then I did a cut to cut off some of the fat, and now I'm rebuilding again. Obviously, I'm not getting to go to the gym now. I haven't been for the whole of lockdown, so about 3 months, I think. But I'm doing bits and pieces at home. But like everybody, it's just boring doing body weight stuff, or whenever you don't have a lot of equipment or space to do it. So that's kind of what I've been up to for the last 6 months. Like I said, I'm going to be launching all of my programs in the next few days. So if you're interested, just let me know and we can have a conversation about what they are. I will talk more about them in further podcasts, but I just wanted to let everyone know where I've been, where I am, and the plan moving forward. So today's podcast, I just wanted it to be quite short, just for that very reason, just to get people back up to date with where I am. And because I did short ones for an entire year, the active listeners who have been listening to them, it's a bit much to just throw out a 20-minute one straight away. So I'm going to aim for every Wednesday, so that you can listen in on a Wednesday, so you'll know exactly when it's coming out. If you want to go back and listen to any of the rest of them, that would be awesome as well. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. And if you want me to tell any stories about how I got to where I am, or focus on anything that you would particularly like me to focus on, then let me know that as well. And let me know what you think of the changing it up. So I'm recording on video as well, so the people just listening, you can see me wave my arms around and see my background and just see what I look like if you've never actually seen me before, or see the book when I describe the book now when I think about it. So that's all I just wanted to talk about. I hope you have an amazing day, whatever you get up to, and I will speak to you on the next podcast.